Hello everybody, this is James Austin and I'm making another video for Rage CCG. This video will be a quick look at combat. So let's dig in. I am not going to talk about character cards. I already talked about them. That's beating a dead horse. I am, however, going to talk about this card, which is a SEP card, which is an enemy card. Enemy cards are things you can put inside of your SEP deck in order to have something to fight, because maybe you don't want to fight the other characters. So, these enemy cards serve the purpose of getting you to renown points without actually harming any outside people. It's pretty much internal fighting. And keep in mind the terms internal fighting for later. So, let's talk a little bit about drawing your combat cards and how much should be in your combat deck. Your combat deck cannot be any lower than 20 cards. And you want to kind of keep it around that 20 number. Above 20, but really low, like close to 20. Because it's one of the few decks you get to reshuffle. And because you get to reshuffle your discard back in, keeping it low helps you get the cards that you need a little bit sooner. It just is more effective. Also, you can draw up to 5 cards unless you have some sort of ability or territory or some other card that'll let you draw more. Lastly, you can have 2 cards of the same name in the SEP deck. So, if you have a Flesh Wound, a Block, or something like that, you can have 2 of those in the deck. So, low numbers, cycle time is super high. So first thing in combat, you kind of want to pick who's the alpha. Who is representing the party? So for me, I'm going to use Spotlight because Spotlight is the character card in the example. But let's say you and another one of your opponents has an alpha that's the same renown score. So you can always flip a quarter, roll dice, or have a third party judge to pick who goes first, and then you just follow the order of who's going first, who's going next. So combat cards come into play face down. So face down, face down. They come into play face down. And then when you are ready, you both say ready, you do what you gotta do, you flip the cards over. Once you flip the cards over, we always want to do a validity check. Flesh Wound requires Rage 1. Fomori has a higher rage than that. It can do Flesh Wound. Spotlight has a Rage 3. Flesh Wound only needs Rage 1. They both can do the cards. So, I am using my cards for this right now. But if this was a live 2-player or multiplayer game, your enemy's cards, this Fomori's cards, would come from one of your opponents, because you're not just going to blow through the enemies. Someone else gives you that variety or that change in play because they're playing the cards for your enemy for you. Then once you have assessed that the damage is valid, you swap the cards from one side to another, always keeping in mind you just moved your card over to someone else's side. Then, after that, you see how that damage is going to impact their health score. So, for the Fomori, as for it lost 1. Now, the only way these cards can be removed is on the regeneration phase, which happens a little bit after the combat phase of the game. Now, if the damage equals the health, the card is destroyed. And then after the card is destroyed, depending on what you're fighting, it will determine how the renown points are used. So if Spotlight beats the Fomori will count as 4 points to the victory, to 4 victory points to winning the game for me. But if the Fomori beats Spotlight, Spotlight is me fighting myself. So the victory points or the renown score is just lost. I discard it. Now, if it was me fighting another character, then winning determines who gets what renown score. So if it's player versus player, renown is counted to the player's victory points. But if it's player versus enemy mob inside of their own or the another person's deck, you just get the renown equal to, you get the renown if you defeat the villain. But if the villain defeats you, your character is just lost. So with that being said, this is really a brief run through of combat. If you like what you hear, please like the post, please subscribe, and please make comments below. This is just the first of many. I want to say thank you for watching, and I want to thank all of my instructors for helping me learn this part of combat.